A giant thing that has changed in my business philosophy since I started building businesses 30 years ago, 29 years ago. And that is, I used to think it was all about the hustle. Don't get me wrong, hustle is important. You need hustle and you need grit. And that only takes you so far. When I used to build businesses, I started building businesses in my 20s. I was 27 when I started my first staffing agency that I exited in 6 years for $28 million. Why did I do that? I was hell bent on exiting. That's really, I share that story a lot. We built to exit. That was our vision. We wanted to retire in our 30s. And when we had the business, that's all. There were a lot of fun moments, and it got really stressful at times, like entrepreneurship does. And our entire vision was to build, scale, and sell. And we did. I believe it's very important to have your vision, to know what you want from your business. 29 years later, in my new business, Caya, where I'm still in staffing, it's very different. We place remote workers from the Philippines into meaningful positions, meaningful roles in emerging businesses in the US. Highly qualified, skilled people. What we provide is something that was a natural progression from how I started this business, because now I'm in my 50s. When I built those businesses to exit, I was also a lot younger and foolish. I'm still kind of foolish, but there's one thing about building a business and exiting, and then what happens when you exit. I had some disasters. I had financial failures. A lot of people ask me, like, why do you still work? Part of it is I like it. I really do like to work. And I've come to that realization that I'm no longer about that retirement goal. I'm no longer looking for the exit. I mean, we might exit one day, and I hope my team's not mad at me for saying this, because the payout's great, payout's exciting. But this business is so different for me because, well, one, I'm a lot more mellow. The business is growing, it's growing fast. But also, I set out for my own business, before I even knew what my business was going to be. I knew it was going to be something with recurring revenue. And I started by coaching founders to figure out where that would lead me to, because entrepreneurship for me is step by step by step. Like, take the next step, take the next step. Know what your why is, know what you want to get out of it, but that doesn't mean that you need to know the strategy right away. In my building of my trying different iterations, we did group coaching, we did I do public speaking, we do a lot of different things. I wanted to figure out what my next business would be, and I wanted to build something, now that I'm nearing 60s, that other people ran. And I would tell people when I first started coaching, I'd be like, that's bullshit. Like, you can't, that's every entrepreneur I know hustles. And there's truth to that. Like, every entrepreneur does hustle, and there's hustling moments. However, I wanted to build a business where my main responsibility, my main functions in the business are the things that I am best at, that I love to do, and that are truly the highest value tasks for me to do in the business. If anybody who's listening to this has ever scheduled something with me and I've tried to do it myself, I'm hopeless at things like that. It takes up time. So I have other people doing that. But not only that, it's not just the tasks that other people do, it's the strategy. It's finance and accounting. It's marketing. It's business development. It's nurturing leads. It's recruiting. It's management, ops, all of those things. I have a brilliant team 5 full-time, 2 part-time in the Philippines doing all of that. Sometimes I still get into the micromanagement, I'm not going to lie, but I'm doing it less and less, and I'm really intentionally auditing my time. I'm looking at how I spend my time, not just how productive it is for the business, but also what I love and what brings me joy. I was recently in the Philippines for the first time. I met my team in person last month. Sitting around the table with the team, we had 3 days of all-day meetings with the team. I just sat there thinking to myself, wow, these people around the table are unbelievable. And everybody's grown within the business. So even my co-founder started out as my virtual assistant. That was our relationship at the beginning. And our chief of staff started out as an assistant. Everybody has grown. Our head of client success was a virtual assistant working for a client. Everybody has grown with the business. Our finance and accounting person started out part-time doing my calendar. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at working with an offshore team. Now, of course, you have to have the right people. We have made changes. We did fire a couple people that we had to as we were growing. But my strategy has been to let people know my vision and to clearly articulate where I want to go. Let people in. When somebody works for you, whether they're in your office or if they're offshore, if they're in Philippines, if they're in Africa, if they're in Colombia, wherever they are, make sure they understand you and they understand the business. My role as a founder is what I heard a founder say on a podcast a few years ago. What she said was, she talked about that moment where her hustle, her personal hustle, shifted so that now her role is every single day making sure that her team members have what they need. She said people in person, sometimes it's bringing them breakfast. So for me, that's what I do. I try my best to make sure that my team has the tools that they need to get their job done, that I have clearly articulated this, what I want, like what the vision is, and to let them do it. Let them build strategy. I don't know. I mean, there's so many things I don't know. I've been building businesses for 29 years. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I do know what I love to do best is videos like this, write, and connect with people. I love visioning too. I love the whole visioning and where are we going to go and dreaming. And I'll end with this. Last week, after I got back from the Philippines, I went with a cold. It may have been COVID. I don't know. Then it turned into a sinus infection. Then it turned into an ear infection. So I was quite ill. So ill that I canceled my trip to the Caribbean after I got back, which was a bummer. But what was amazing is that I just decided I'm going to spend this week in bed. I'm going to binge Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV. I got them all. I'm going to read novels and I'm just going to back off. And it felt so good because everything moved along. We even had one person who takes care of his mother, and his mother's caregiver was out. We had another person whose grandfather died, which it's a real thing. I mean, obviously it's a real thing, but in the Philippines, a lot of people have been raised by their grandparents because before remote work, a lot of times their parents were overseas Filipino workers sending money back. So just a side note, this work really means a lot to them, and it really brings them opportunities to be there and stay with their family, But we had 2 people besides me who were down. We were working with a skeleton crew, and they handled it. So much so that we had 5 solid leads. I think we're at we're working on 7 really super juicy roles just from last week. And people were out. And I sat there while I was watching Widow's Bay, and oh gosh, I don't even want to admit this off campus because I love college and high school romance shows. And now I'm reading The Correspondent. And while I was doing that, I thought, you know what? This is it. This is it. Everybody on my team is doing what is in their expertise, what is their zone of genius. They're either doing that or they're training. The ones that are in entry level roles like email management, calendaring, they're training, they're learning, and they're training. And it's at a point where I don't know what we're going to do with it. I don't know if I'm ever going to, maybe we'll exit. I don't know. Kind of feels different though. It feels very different. And I don't anymore dream of retiring. I dream about continuing the life I have now because it's really good. I'm Diane Prince. My vision is to make entrepreneurship easier for anyone who wants to start a company. In the notes, wherever you're watching this, because I know my team chops it up into shorts and things like that, and the long form will be on YouTube. In the notes, put all the links and things like that if you want to contact us and figure out and see how we can help you.